Hello Seekers, welcome to another episode of Punneit Astrology, your one-stop astro channel. Saturn will make its move in Shatabhisha Nakshatra once again. Saturn was in Shatabhisha Nakshatra, then it became retrograde. Then it came back to Dhanishta, and now once again on 24th of November, Saturn will enter this unique nakshatra. And see, you have to understand the mix of energies here. Shatabhisha is a nakshatra that represents controlled expansion and also something that defines your limitations. The symbol of Shatabhisha nakshatra is a circle, and Saturn has rings around itself as you see in the planetary position through telescope. So what does it mean? As if Saturn has embraced this particular nakshatra as a nakshatra that symbolizes restraint, that symbolizes confinement, but it's more like a confinement for healing, confinement to grow. Shatabhisha also defines life coming to a full circle, and therefore this also means that you may start anywhere. You may think you are the best, but Saturn going into Shatabhisha may tell you that you are just an ordinary person. It can dissolve your ego and can make you a humble individual and someone who is on the path of moksha, someone who is on the path of divinity. Because if you bring two such Shatabhisha energies together, not like in marriage, but imagine two Shatabhisha energies are coming together, two circles joining each other will create infinity. So zero, or the symbol of Shatabhisha, which is a circle, is also shunya. That means it represents cosmic infinity as well as singularity. So when Saturn, which is the planet of rule, karma phal, goes into this nakshatra, it wants you to slow down your approach, at least for the first few months, and figure out what needs healing in life. This can be your career, this can be your image, this can be your health, this can be your relationship, and this can vary from every single individual. If you are born in Shatabhisha nakshatra, like moon or lagna is in Shatabhisha, or if your Saturn itself is in Shatabhisha, this will produce pronounced effect in your life. Shatabhisha is also a nakshatra connected to the vastness of the ocean because it is ruled by Varunadev, the lord of the ocean. So it also, Shatabhisha is a full circle, which also means swinging, the angular momentum, which is the representation or the precursor of Samudra Manthan. Because what lies beyond Shatabhisha is Purva Bhadrapada, a kind of nakshatra where you will have to dissolve and let everything go, because it is represented by funeral pyre, the fire of the dead bodies. That means you will have to burn yourself completely, dissociate and disintegrate in order to go to the next level. Now imagine the Samudra Manthan. The Devas and the Asuras were fighting each other, but they both have to go against their nature to come together and do the Samudra Manthan. A common goal. So when Saturn goes in Shatabhisha, it will make you remember your common goal. It's a precursor for bigger events in the future. But initially when Saturn will enter, that means in the month of November and December, until Jupiter is retrograde in the Aries zodiac sign, Saturn is going to make you remember all the negative things, all the places where you have committed mistakes, all the areas that need healing in life. You also have to understand that similarly the ruler of Shatabhisha, the planetary association of Shatabhisha is with Rahu. Rahu represents Vayu, Saturn represents Vayu. Aquarius zodiac sign where this entire nakshatra falls is also a Vayu Tattva, an air element. Vayu means air. So you see how the movement happens, where Rahu wants to bring in chaos, whereas Saturn wants to bring in limitations. And Rahu has entered Revati Nakshatra. And while Saturn will enter Shatabhisha, Rahu will be comfortably placed in Revati Nakshatra. So therefore what might happen is that on one side Rahu will encourage you to earn wealth, Rahu will encourage you to take the shortcut. Saturn will redefine your position in life where you should not take a shortcut. You should go slow. You should respect your limitations and boundaries. And remember, in the war of Rahu and Saturn, you should listen to Saturn, not Rahu. Yes, Rahu being in Revati and Saturn coming to Shatabhisha and Shatabhisha connection to Varuna, that means the god of ocean, and Pisces itself being an ocean and Revati is something that is deep hidden, shows that you will discover deep secrets of life. Definitely there will be scientific achievements and discoveries that are never heard before. Maybe the James Webb Telescope discovers something unique. I am seeing articles where James Webb Telescope is redefining the Big Bang Theory. It has discovered some galaxies at the far edge of the universe, the visible, observable universe, that kind of defies the Big Bang. I may be wrong, I'm not a scientist, but it kind of gives the hint what Saturn in Shatabhisha can do. It can bring in information that can challenge your previous information. And we know the science, the Vidya that we know has its own limitations, and work within that framework. And every time another breakthrough has to happen to recreate another structure. So this is like a breakdown of the previous structure to recreate another structure. But in this breakdown and recreation, there has to be an order in the chaos. And that is why Saturn will bring the order, whereas Rahu is bringing the chaos and innovation. So innovation, AI, new startups might happen. The technological advancement will be really great. You and I may not see it on a commercial level, but on a scientific level, if you are a scientist watching this, you will know and understand what I'm saying. Shatabhisha also have connection to medicine, pharmaceutical industry. So Saturn going there will start regulating these industries. That means you will see great reforms coming in your way in these industries. And if you're connected to these kind of business practices, it is something which is good for you. After all, Saturn in Shatabhisha is in Aquarius, which is its Mool Trikon zodiac sign. You can also watch my Saturn transit in Aquarius video. The link will be somewhere here or in the pinned comment section to watch, which I made earlier, I think last year or early this year, where you can understand what Saturn in Aquarius means. Club that with Saturn in Shatabhisha and you will understand what I'm saying. Now, Shatabhisha is also about knowing the secrets, but keeping the secrets within. Say for example, there are complex solution to a problem. You should not go and declare it everywhere, but rather keep it within and first solve, produce results and let the results talk for itself. That means there will also be a certain degree of secrecy happening around you, which may make you uncomfortable, but try to understand that you should also express what needs to be expressed. And if you are an extrovert person or if you're too expressive in life, Saturn in Shatabhisha may create problems for you and may make you fall into situations which will help you learn when to draw the boundary. Because Shatabhisha is all about finding your limits and then drawing a boundary, but then slowly you can expand that circle. See, circle can be shunya, circle can be infinity, right? So in that case, from point singularity to an infinite universe, anything can happen. The circle is ever expanding. That is, but the role of Saturn is to slow it down. Don't make it reckless, make it justifiable, and if it needs to stop, it has to stop. That means if you are working in certain areas of life, or if you are into relationship and you're trying something and things don't work, maybe it means that you need to stop, take a step back and observe what is happening. Now club this with Jupiter transit in Bharani and Ashwini Nakshatra, where Saturn has a third aspect. That also means it talks about creation, creativity. It talks about bringing discipline. It talks about finding the right cycle of life. It talks about knowing your previous karma. It talks about maintaining the right amount of work and life balance and have a good night's sleep. So right from a very basic life and our day-to-day activities to cosmic scale, Saturn in Shatabhisha is going to influence. This is also a nakshatra of power. This is also a nakshatra of variety of expressions in life. Shatabhisha, 100 divine physicians, 100 doctors. On a negative level, what can bring 100 doctors? Maybe too much of indiscipline in life, maybe a lot of lifestyle issues. That means a lot of attention is needed. And when Saturn enters, it wants you to stop everything and put your attention there. People who are already medically unwell and suffering from a medical condition should not rush in their life. People who have Saturn-Mars conjunction or Saturn aspecting Mars in their birth chart should also slow down. When I say slow down, doesn't mean you will not grow, but there has to be a sustenance in your action. Anything that you cannot sustain for a very long time, you should not do. Say for example, you go into a rigorous dieting. Now you know you may not be able to continue this rigorous plan of dieting for a very long time, but you want a rapid weight loss. Then Saturn in Shatabhisha will tell you, why are you doing this? Do you know your limitations in the body? Do you know that your body can do this or cannot do this? Maybe you are not supposed to lose weight that quickly. What Saturn will do? Saturn will make you fall sick. It will stop you, and it will stop you abruptly. Whereas Rahu in Revati will encourage you that the world is bright and beautiful and do something big. Whereas Saturn will stop you, and Jupiter is retrograde. The Jupiter will want you to learn from the mistakes. So the entire universe will seem as if everything is conspiring against you. That is why, say that if you are following a diet plan that is aggressive or rigorous, you must have a logic or a justifiable reason behind that. Not an aesthetic reason, but maybe a professional reason. Maybe you are into bodybuilding. Maybe you are into certain kind of profession. Maybe it is an acute medical need that you need to have a rapid weight loss. Otherwise, you will fall into bad health. Then it makes sense. Then Saturn will help you. Because then when you diet, you are restricting yourself from eating something, right? You are restricting yourself. So Saturn is going to favor that restriction. But say you are a healthy individual and one fine day you decide, I don't want to eat anything because I want to look good, Saturn will make you fall sick. Because that's a restriction you don't need. So you need to also understand that application of restriction also needs to be regulated. Say for example, you are forcing something on yourself. That's not going to help. You need to find that right balance where the force do not make you heavily uncomfortable. A little bit of uncomfort is necessary for success, but if you cannot breathe, if you cannot move an inch, that means you are choking yourself. You need to find that fine difference between restricting yourself and choking yourself. Let's quickly understand in one sentence what this Saturn in Shatabhisha will do for all ascendants, and you can watch the same analysis as per your moon sign. For Aries, it is a time of peace, growth and career changes, especially if you are involved into technological fields, if you are involved into core medical practices. This is going to be a very good time for you. It is also going to give you relief if you are trying medical procedures for childbirth. For students, it's going to be a very good time, but you need to bring back focus and you need to follow the path of discipline. Doing yoga will improve your health, whereas overthinking is only going to pull you down. Taurus. In case of Taurus, this is going to affect your image and therefore this is going to affect your name and fame. You can be restricted in your own mind that you need a certain level of dignity or name and fame, and it can be a matter of self-respect. Try to be a little more humble and try to give room for expansion. Always understand that there is a scope of development. Because if you think you are the best, you have hit the ceiling and then there will be downfall. Gemini. In case of Gemini, this is the time to understand the higher purpose. It is a time to visit temples. It is the time to do a lot of book reading and absorb yourself into learning. Now, this is also the time for religious pilgrimages and for people who want to study abroad, who want to do PhD, who want to study into big technical universities. It's going to be a favorable transit. Saturn will give you guidance, but in a very strict manner and in a manner that you may not like. Accept those guidance. Cancer. For Cancer Ascendant and Moon sign, Saturn is causing the 8th house energies to trigger, but now it is direct and it is going in Shatabhisha, so it is far more stable. That means stable changes and transformation are on the cards, especially with matters related to your marriage, investments, business, and your financial security. Whatever happens, if you go slow and you take one thing at a time, you will be on the right track. Leo. For Leo, Saturn is going to be in the 7th house in Shatabhisha Nakshatra, therefore a great time to know your boundary within marriage, drop all those extramarital affairs and respect your partner. Even in business, you should be knowing your limitations, maybe your production capacity. Whatever happens, grow slowly, but don't rush, because if you rush, this Saturn will bring bad luck and bad health. Virgo Ascendant, this is going to be a Saturn in the 6th house, a brilliant time to heal yourself, a brilliant time to recover from any loss, debt, and also win over your enemies. But again, Saturn being a diplomatic planet, it will find out-of-the-box solution and maybe out-of-the-court settlements. Go for the middle path and you will find peace, happiness, and bliss. For Libra, Saturn will be in the 5th house, therefore it means that you need to redefine your relationship with yourself, with your loved ones, and especially with your children. For students, you need to pray to Mahasaraswati, and for others, you need to read as many books as possible. Acquiring knowledge will tell you that you don't know much, and sometimes that is good. For Scorpio, Saturn is going to be in the 4th house, so it's going to be a very good time to buy an asset, safeguard your future, maybe planning a retirement, finding a retirement plan, and also putting your money into investments that will help you in the long run. Ultimately, you will have to restrict yourself from spending too much on liabilities. Say you want to buy a car, you can buy anything, but restrict yourself into buying something that suits your need, not something that suits your display of power. Saturn in the 3rd house for Sagittarius means that you need to practice restraint. Your courage will now grow. Great time to encounter your fear and win over them. It's a time when you will have to restrict your expression and make it more weighty, make it more positive, and make it more influential. It's a bad time for extrovert people, but regulation is on the way. You won't change your nature, but at least you will become more and more effective in your non-verbal communications. Saturn in the 2nd house for Capricorn is going to bring in healing in your family. If there is any financial problem, that will be resolved, provided you understand your own limitation. After all, Saturn rules your ascendant. It means that you have to personally be involved and redefine relationship. Great for people who are project managers, who are into executive roles, who are into politics, who are into government sector defining policies. Eat right, donate food. For Aquarius, Saturn will be on your ascendant. It means your overall development, but you will feel confined. You will feel that you are having less room to move, and when you will try to rush hard, there will be medical issues. For some it will be minor, for some it will be major. What you should do? You should take one step at a time, take baby steps towards life, towards your goals. Plan your ambition, say a 5-year term plan in your own mind and follow that plan. Discipline is a must, yoga is mandatory. For Pisces, Saturn will be in the 12th house, and this 12th house Saturn, that too in a very restrictive state, shows that you have to restrict your expenses. However, Rahu on the Lagna wants you to look extravagant. Otherwise, Saturn will create unnecessary expenses and your financial sickness will take you down big time, especially when you are into lending the money to someone, or if you are trying to invest heavily in a business with a hope that it will give you return. No practical limitations, focus only on data, not on emotions.